Probably should be standing for this. So I hauled this thing out because I'm going to be working on it. I have to see how I'm going to light up that thing. But I'm not bringing all 4 landing pads out. It's not necessary because I'm not going to actually put the lights attached to the landing pad. But in order to do this, of course, I have to haul this thing out. And since I just finished talking in the last video about how, honestly, the entire layout is quote-unquote basic. And I'm not saying basic as a derogatory statement. I'm saying I used a lot of basic brick and a lot of basic building concepts, brick on top of brick, plate, brick for Technic stuff. It's what we learned in the original expert builders. Is you have a brick, you have 2 plates, and you have a brick, and then therefore you can reinforce it vertically. The reinforcements vertically are not here right now, of course, because the vertical reinforcements also do 2 jobs. They not only reinforce the vertical 2 layers of beams here, but they attach to there. They go through the beams there. So when you put the landing pad on here, you push the 8L axles through here and here, there and there, and then they hold. Then they have the little 3L gizmos, these guys here in red, so you know where they are, and it holds the entire thing together. And so the landing pads are held on by 4, 8, 12, 16 studs. Let me just show you. Well, I got this thing here, and I might as well do this while I'm doing a video. So there's a hollowed out area in there. Actually, no. So the entire top row is actually, I didn't realize I did that. Looking at it now. Oh no, sorry, it's just the 2 end. So there's, I can't do both at the same time. So this thing just goes on here like that, and then let's get underneath, and then the vertical 8L axle thing I have, one goes there and one goes at the end there, and it basically holds the 2 units together. And so you got 4, 8, 12 studs here, and 4, 8, 12 studs there, and the 2 or 4 8L axles that are held together by those guys. So it works. It honestly works. I had a really overthought, over-engineered zigzag of beams coming out here, and on the bottom of the base plate are the landing pads, and I'm going, that's just far. When I went and did the electricity, I said that's just far too complicated. So I went on to this, and it works fine. One thing I could have done, or maybe should have done, is extended this piece out 2 more studs, because the longer the distance between here and here, where the 2 pieces come together firmly, the less it's going to sag, because if I just did it here and here, it's going to sag a lot. So the longer this bottom piece is out from this space station, the less the landing pads are going to sag. Of course, the longer out these things are, the whole thing's going to sag more. So it was a balance act between how much is going to be on the landing pad and how much is going to be on the space station. I opted for these things sticking out of the space station and not out the back of the landing pad, because landing pads are going to be hard enough as they are to store and modify and blah blah blah. So this is what I came up with, and overall it does a good job. And you can see how dusty it is. Sorry about that. And so this is the wiring that goes to the pips, the lights, Rob Hendricks life lights, and this is the connection to the EL wire over here, and there's that connector. So that those 2 separate wiring, because again, I didn't want to put the EL converter inside the space station. That's back at the electric block that I'm going to build, that where everything plugs into, but that's later. Far later. And I mentioned the 1x2 bricks with the lines on them, so they're there. And of course, I put the white down arrows beside the entrances, blah blah blah. And this is just being moon-base compliant, quote unquote. So, and I mentioned years and years ago in other videos why I can't build any more 6, 9, 8, 5s, because I was missing the 3x4 or the 4x3 by 1 trans yellow panels, because they're all in here. And not just in this building, and all the other buildings. I used all of them, so I don't have too many left over. And I got a lot of original windows, and I got a lot of these 45s, and of course, the trans yellow dome. And there's just 8 in this piece alone, and there's 4 in the level below. That's 12, and right now that's all there is. I have 12 trans yellow domes. I'm not going to try to compete with the Blacktron Intelligence Agency, which, as I keep on saying, had 78 trans yellow domes in it. I admire that so much. But again, so my whole point in basicness, quote unquote basicness. So you got all the way in here, 2x3 bricks, 2x2 bricks, 2x4 bricks, mostly 2x2 inverted slopes, 1x3 1x2x3 inverted. And you get up to here, same thing, and then as there's reverses going up, right? That's all it is, right? And it's just basic brick inside here, 2x and 2x2 slopes. And then the windows, like there's zero greebling at all. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just the way I did it. And these things are another one. They're 1x bricks in here, and then in the dome. So the cuteness, and it took me a little while to figure it out, but it didn't. After I figured it out, it was pretty easy. Is this piece right here to fit with those Renegade wing plates? I think the 10x10 with the notch out. They get this piece on here. After I figured this out, so this is 10 studs long, and over here, from here to here is, well, 8, 10, 12, 14. So 14 studs long to 8 studs long to 14 studs long. And what you can do, now that you have this piece here, and it fits perfectly, there's no stress at all in the brick, is that you can have a corridor here and a corridor here. So you can have an octagon of corridors going out to an octagon of landing pads, which I actually did once, except they're really teeny tiny landing pads for personal space suits that have the rocket thrusters. That was the training building that I built, and it showed up in 1 or 2 layouts, and I destroyed it because I didn't like it. But I did this exact level, this level here, right here, all by itself, the 7 bricks tall or whatever it was. And I used, and the doorway was here and here and here. So it looked really cool with an octagon. And of course I had a landing pad here, 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 all the way around. And I just used the X-Pods, 10 stud wide, end caps for that. And in Chris, this is back in Lugnet, by the way. Chris sends me an email one time, or a reply. I think it was on Lugnet. He sends me a reply, and this is why I love the guy. He says, by the way, Dave, those 8x8 circular plates / tiles that are on the end of the original little pod that came out of Star Wars, episode 4, the rescue pod, they had those big round tiles with the 4 studs in the middle. They fit perfectly inside the X pod ends. And he says, and therefore they're flat, because I was trying to come up with some building and tiling. He goes, no, the 8x8, the 8L round tiles with the 4 studs in the middle fit perfectly inside those. I said, oh, mind blown. And so that just ended my career of, worrying about how to build the landing pads that were coming out of that thing. And so I had 8 of those, and it looked kind of cute. It looked like the space station that you see in, Star Trek, the reboot Kelvin timeline, but that space station was sort of based on the star base that was in the Starfleet technical manual that had all the little pods on the outside of it. Thinking of Star Trek, because everything comes back to Star Trek at some point. I liked the building. The only problem is so here's the big building, and the other building was right there. And so actually one of the landing pads that I built was interfering with this landing pad. And this one's going to take precedent. That's what's going to happen. I didn't realize at the time, because of course I can't have the layout set up at home. So I built this building years ago, and it was all in storage. And I built that building for that show to basically have supports for all the monorail that was going through the back here. And then I show up at the show, and I put this building down. I start building this building, and I just happened to be on exactly the same level as this. So the one octagonal landing pad that was kind of on an angle was interfering with this guy. So I had to remove it, and then it looked stupid. So bye-bye building. Don't need you. I might revisit it because because it's a training area for all the space guys, again, in the universe. It was a fun building. And it had 5 or 6 monorail tracks going through it. Because that's what it was supposed to do, is just basically hold up the monorail track, but then you have to have a reason in universe why it's there.
Dad, can you bring one of those orange brick separators up to me?
I have to go rescue my son, and I will continue this video because I got some ideas to show you. But I got this thing, and I also, before I forget, and I probably won't do it in the next video, there's a front to this that has to be the front. Not only because the wires come out the back, so you don't see the wires as much, and you can see the nest of wires inside. What are you gonna do? Here you go. Okay, so I can continue. This thing has to have a front, and the easiest way for me to find the front is I put this brick here that Rob sent me, because there's a ton of life lights in here. This building especially has, I actually can't, I lost count of actually how many life lights are in this one building alone. I think I have 4 kits in here. I don't have the plug-in right now. It comes out the bottom, and you can see all the wires coming out the back. So I have to make that prettier, but I'm not going to worry about that. That's not today's. And oh yeah, so I was going to show you this too. And when I say the gravity holds this whole thing together, so this is the layer end, and you can see that these outer are just one brick, one plate above the rest of it. So whatever you put on top of here will not slide sideways. And so this is the piece actually. This thing has a front on it too, but I can't remember where it is right now. So I'm gonna put this thing right on top, and I'm gonna get you underneath. So now the grade goes all the way through, as you can see, and this thing will not go side to side, but you can lift it up. Like there's no studs holding that thing together. There's none. It's just sitting on top of tiles. Now the weight alone keeps it there, because again, something else goes on top. The weight alone keeps it there. Unless it tilts like 30 degrees or something like that, it's not going to come off. The top will come off because the top gets lighter and lighter and smaller. But again, so we get bricks on top of bricks here. You can see that, bricks on top of bricks. And then you got these bricks here. So again, basic brick. That's what I use. That's what I use to build, basic brick. And then this is a little, not even fancy. Hey, there's Janie. Janie's in the layout. Janie Fig, my Janie Fig. That I think she gave me a long time ago. I think she even has a Brick Fat shirt on. Oops, where am I here? There it is. Hi, Jeannie. And I think that's Brandon. I can't remember. Or somebody else. Well, she got a ponytail, so it's not him, it's her. Anyway, and again, my greebling, I use these gray ones for most of my pieces, most of my stations that have the cockpit on top. This is how I did it, instead of just like a 1x2 blue brick or this. So, and then yeah, this designates the front. These stars here designate the front, and you won't see that when you put the next level on top. And this was supposed to be a lot more detailed than it ended up being, because I even put the stairs in here. And these are, again, the elevator shafts. These are the doors to get into those vertical trans dark blue tubes that I put up that go basically through the entire building. And you can see them coming through here on the inside. So in universe, this is how they get from one floor to the next. There's the tube that goes all the way from top all the way down to the bottom when the whole thing's together. Now the one deficiency about the tube, and I don't know if I can do it really quickly. Do I have a two-piece here that I can grab? I always have spares. Look at that. The one deficiency that I can't fix is that when you put the tube on, so this is what happens, you just flick the tube to the studs, is that this doesn't come all the way down to the glass. And I wasn't going to fix that. So this is, you guys are getting a secret that, again, not OCD, but I actually am. This part drives me nuts, but I can't do anything about that. To build these things out would require rebuilding the entire diamond shape here, and I'm not going to do that. And so it would have been nice if it was a 4x4 instead of a 3x3, but it's a 3x3 and I'm not going to change that. And it does the same thing in the bottom, except of course this is inverted, so it's stud to stud, and that's fine. And I showed you in another video how I did that. Basically I got a piece going that way and a piece going in that way, so that holds this bottom piece on by itself. Originally, my original diamond did not have this layer in here. This piece was right on top of the gray, and this piece came out the bottom of the gray. I didn't like that because it looked too truncated and it didn't look like a level here. So I wanted to put this level in, and that was a huge rework because it basically I'm changing all the Technic pieces, I'm changing all the angles, I'm changing everything. But I think adding this level was made the buildings look so much better. What else can I talk about before I wrap this video up? Not much more. That's again the wiring for the 8 lights that are in the Rob Hendricks, but they're not the basic kit. They are the, I forget what he calls them. They're on the circuit board. I don't know if you can see them. Let me see if I can pull this thing down, because they are a good light. That's down, and let's see if I can see up. Those guys there, the ones on the circuit board. And so I put 8 of those, and because I can do that in series, and so go all the way around the loop with, this is the other issue, with this series of wires instead of having a hub and spoke thing. So that saved a lot of wiring for me, a lot of soldering and whatever. I use those. But what I'm going to do now is, for example, and I can't put it on because it'll be lopsided, but I'm going to put this base plate on here, and I'm going to try to have the light attached to here and shining down on the landing pad. That's the idea. We will see if it works. That's my plan, and I will keep you posted, probably do a video about it. But in the end, it's good to be back in this building, in this layout. You can see how dusty it is. This is from all the shows, right? And I don't, because again, it's in universe, right? It's on a moon, it's on an asteroid, it's on somewhere. Here's a sound that people just love. The good part right now is that there is a continuous from here all the way down, all the way down, all the way down to the bottom here, as there's no gaps. And that's the strength. And it goes either through the 4x4 blue cylinders, or it goes through the trans yellow 2x2s. It carries the weight load all the way down. And this thing is binded into that weight load distribution. So the weight from the top coming down holds these things straight so they don't droop. Without the weight from above, originally, again, this is what I was talking about earlier in the other video, as I had Technic bricks inside that went all the way up. And they came above, and then you would click into here, and it just got too annoying, and it was far too complicated. And you lose a lot of strength, actually, of just brick on top of brick by trying to weasel in Technic bricks, even studless bricks, studless beams. You lose a lot of strength because you're using a lot of 1x1s, a lot of 1x2s instead of 2x3s and 3x4s, or 2x4s. So I removed all of that, and you can stand on this. I think I did a video of me standing on this. I'm not going to do it now. But you can stand on top of this. And so I'm happy about that. And so there is no vertical reinforcement at all. It's just brick, 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 brick all the way up. Bricks and plates. I got the plate levels, but mostly bricks all the way up. And it is fine. And yes, there's a little flimsy right here because there's only a slope on one side and an inverted slope on the other side. But you can see there's a Technic beam that goes that way there and this way here, and it goes on top of these guys, and that goes down to the floor, and it comes up through this, and then goes down through here. So it's good enough for Canada, as the Dutch people would say. Good enough for Canada. I'm happy with it. So I'm going to do some work on it. I'm happy it's together. I don't know if I'm going to grab the cake toppers. Probably not. I don't have time for cake toppers. The one thing I will add, and I talked about it extensively in videos from years ago, is that I had to add all of these guys. Yes, this is the studless beams, because again, just like on the 90 degrees, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. But when it gets over here, these things start to woe down. You know, it's only held together by the 2x or the 1x3s in the back. And if they separate, this bottom part droops. And because there's nothing in the front holding the stuff together. Yes, behind these guys, I have a stack of 2x4s that join the top to the bottom, right there. I have 2x4s in there. You can't see them because in the universe, there's supposed to be a continuous round in here. But this also helps that this thing never comes apart now. It absolutely does not come apart at all, which is utterly fantastic for me. I don't have to worry about rebuilding this thing at every show. And this is before, and this, let's talk about the Yale wire for a sec. This is before I came up with the idea of using the 1x1 round plates and just pushing it back into there. I might rebuild this to get rid of these things because I think it's a little obtrusive. But this is the first time I did it. And I ordered all these clippies. I think the other building looked nicer with it right against the slope and having that little gap in there. I will make up my mind at some point. Right now, I'm not going to worry about that because right now it's about lighting the landing pads. So I'm going to work on that. But right now I have to work on building a stand to hold that up so I can attach it to that without this whole thing falling over. So that's what I'm going to work on. So I will talk to everybody soon. Everybody take care. Stay safe and later.